thank you so much to our tuners who valiantly spent their lunchtime in deep discussion around this. The scene is this. We have a 15-minute time constraint. We're very busy and important people in our organization, and we all need to be somewhere else shortly. And I'm going to ambitiously set a time box initially for 10 minutes. So we aim for that, and if we need to, then we can extend the time. We are going to use the pattern of consent decision making, which basically means to check are there any reasons not to do it this way. If there is a risk of harm that we can see to any organizational driver, or a way this can be improved right now that's worth us taking our time to do so, then there will be objections to this proposal. And if not, then it will be good enough. And concerns are not arguments why this will cause harm or miss a way to improve, but if you feel concerned, there will be a chance to express that. So, we're going to run through the consent decision-making pattern. For those of you interested, the pattern is the middle of those three higher posters up there. And just to give you a basic idea, it's pretty simple. Yeah, we don't need to consent to driver because we've done it already in the proposal forming. But it's basically check people understand what's written there, just the words are coherent, see how we feel about it, and see if there's any reasons not to do it that way. And if there are, we will evolve this proposal. We're not going to write counter proposals. We will build iteratively and incrementally on this one to arrive at a point where there's no more reasons not to, and then celebrate because we will have an agreement. Okay? And then finally, we will consider any concerns. So, tuners, could you, in some dynamic and brief way, please present this proposal to us? Yep. Charlotte, thank you.
We have a very nice discussion, dialogue about this, and here's our proposal. That's our proposal.
Okay, thank you very much. So, what I'd like to do now is check, do you have any questions to understand the proposal as it's written here? This is not questions like, oh, I wonder if you considered blah blah blah, or I see you didn't include this and can you explain why? It's none of that. It's simply when you read these words, as far as you can tell, do they make sense to you in the context of this driver? If they do, you have no questions. And if they don't, you will ask questions to clarify. So, I begin with you, Gertrude. Any questions to understand this as it's written here? Okay. Alexandra, Maria, Charlotte, Victor.
Just to see if I got it correctly. So, the exploratory team does...
Outpatient from the
Is it clear enough, Victor?
Yeah, I think
Good.
so.
Thanks. Any other question? Any other question? Great. Okay. No. Okay, and I have no questions either. It's clear to me. Great. Clarifying questions round. Check. Next step. Before we get into asking if you have any objections or concerns, is a chance for a brief sharing. When you meet this proposal, what's happening in you? You might share feelings around it, you might share reflections you have, but basically you're just offering a brief response. Keyword here, brief response, to give a flavor of what's alive in you in relation to this. And I'm going to ask, Marie, could we begin with you and we go this way and maybe keep it to a sentence or a short paragraph at most?
I think it sounds very, very good, but the how.
Okay, thank you.
I think it sounds exciting with exploring.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm very excited too.
Yes, me too. Just a question about who's responsible for it and the review and so on.
Yeah, okay.
Excited, and that is a lot of people that are getting involved in this.
A warmth feeling about this exploratory team and the setting of that.
Okay, I love the participative element and I see crucial ingredients missing from the proposal.
I'm really pleased because we're not trying to reinvent or invent something that maybe is already there.
Great. Thank you. Phil. Okay, folks. So, having understood the proposal, heard people's brief response, which gives us another dimension of information to consider, I would invite you to ask, do you have any objections or concerns to this proposal as it is right now? And don't show your hand immediately, but when you're ready, if you know no objection, concerned or objection, when you're ready, just hold your hand up like this. So, any objections or concerns to this proposal? Just like this when you're ready. It's like scissors, paper, stone, you know? We're not going to show our hands until we're ready. In a new group, this is helpful. When people learn, the biggest gift they can share is an objection or concern, if they have one, then they're not influenced by others. But meanwhile, we can do this so we don't influence each other. Okay, so on 3, 1, 2, 3. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 possible objections, some concerns, and a no objection. So I'm going to start somewhere. Gertrude, you said you have an objection. Could you share your argument, please?
I like this, but it's not ready. We miss evaluation, responsible people. So
Okay, I'd like to check. Can people relate to this? I know you can relate because you told me. Okay, any suggestions how we might improve this right now? Gertrude?
we can choose one of us to be responsible for the next step.
Okay, let's check this first. Would there, in principle, be any objections to choosing one of us for the next step? Any objections or concerns to choosing one of us for the next step? We're testing the amendment. Any objections or concerns? Let's see. Okay, Phil. To be accountable for it, you mean?
To be accountable.
Okay.
I have no problem with it being handed off maybe to a couple of people. My objection is being handed to one person.
Ah, okay. So we had an objection. We qualified it. People could relate. We had a proposed amendment to have one person accountable for the next step. We had an objection to the amendment. We check, can people relate to the objection? So now we're qualifying the objection to the amendment. Now we have two people with two different points of view. I'm going to check, can you relate to his argument?
Yes.
Okay, would you two have a 20-second conversation to see if you can find the both and more solution? Over to you, we're listening.
I just think having two heads is better than one.
Yeah, but you're right. I was just quick, and I thought the next step one could be responsible for that. But it's quite okay. I think you're right. Two people see the more things, and it's more than two. One.
And I don't think it needs to be bigger than two. I think if two people have it, they
Okay,
have
that's
each other.
time. So, amended proposal? Two people?
Yep.
Okay. In principle, any objections? Two people named accountable for this next step? Great. Okay, next question. Do we know who those will be? Anybody? Suggestions? Two people. I'm just fishing from the whole group now. Folks, I need to reset the time. We will take 4.5 more minutes. That is our time box. Our flights will leave. Okay. So meanwhile, please, two named people accountable.
I think we should have two members in the leading from the clinic who has also time to do this. So I would say Marie and Charlotte.
Marie and Charlotte. Okay. In principle, any objections to Marie or Charlotte? Let's see. Okay, it's good enough. Great. Could Kajsa, could you just capture this amendment? Marie and Charlotte accountable? Thank you. Great. Okay, so we addressed the objection. Let's zoom out again to the whole proposal. With this amendment, any further objections or concerns? When you're ready, show with your hand like this. Now we're looking at the whole proposal again, with this amendment, okay? And asking any further objections or concerns, okay? 1, 2, 3. Okay. Maria, could you share your argument, please?
About this
We don't have any time for when, and we don't have any evaluation criteria. Can other people see that too? Me too. Okay. I'm going to open it up to anybody. Can you see, considering our time constraint, a good enough for now solution so that we can make sure this is addressed? Anybody?
We can evaluate one patient outcome, also
is patient scheduled days
in a team.
Okay, so in principle, one patient outcome and one process outcome. Would there be any objection to this? Just checking. Is a concern. Yeah, so what I'm going to do is, because I'm mindful of time, and I'm going to aim to move us to a good enough for now, safe enough to try agreement. So this is, but no, you stay concerned. Concerns contain wisdom too. They're important, and it's helpful to see. It's not within the capacity of our time constraint to give due attention to evaluation criteria. Yeah? We've got an idea, and we can see it could help. So I'm going to jump in with a suggestion. Any of you could, considering the time constraint, I would propose the tuners get back together after this meeting with the local knowledge of the proposal and consider evaluation criteria and when would be a healthy time for us to evaluate this. In principle, would there be any objections to this amendment? Just like to see. So the tuners get together. Actually, I have a concern. But okay. And maybe we add to that anyone else who would be valuable to bring in. Tuners accountable. Okay? So could we add that the tuners will get together again after and develop evaluation criteria and evaluation date with whoever necessary? Okay, and zooming out to the whole proposal again, are there any further objections or concerns to this proposal? And when you're ready, raise your hand. 1, 2, 3. Folks, we have one more thing to do. Stand up. It's not an S3 pattern, but it's called the happy dance. Because we made an agreement. Thank you so much. You were really awesome. And over to you guys. We're done.